Hello, lads and lasses. What's going on? It's the Flying Pig here on Flying Pig United with another cheeky little stream for you, lads and lasses. What's going on? We got the transfer news of the day, all the latest updates and goings on at Manchester United for you in this concise, cheeky little afternoon stream, lads and lasses. Good to see you. What's happening, everyone? Thank you very much for getting in here and waiting patiently for us to get going. A couple of things we were setting up here, so we were a couple of minutes late. Apologies for keeping you all waiting, but good to have you aboard the Bacon Express this afternoon. How are you all doing? Stephanie, what's going on? Arvin, Dublin Games, Philip Chapman, Let's Be Having You, Cass, Sirius Lee, Nikolai Lindquist. Everyone, thanks for getting in. Philip Chapman, Young Wizard, The Hoop Man, Lemon Squeeze, Super Fat Frank, good to see you. Sheikal Goblin, Jarvis Cocker, I hope you're having a great time in the USA, mate, on holiday, you absolute don. Get in there. Johnny M as well, Sheikal, Primot, what's going down? Red Gold, Mark, Super Fat Frank, Seriously, Lord PlayStation, The Hoop Man, Stephanie Kieran, everyone, thank you for getting in here. We got Aaron in here, Mike Hill, Mohammed, Avram Glazer, get out. Hashtag Glazers out. Gungshi, what's going on, you hero? Get in there. Lord PlayStation, Heath Edwards. Any sleep? Well, I mean, I did get some sleep, but I'm absolutely wan-mattered at the moment, which is Cockney rhyming slang, obviously, for shattered. I'm pretty tired, peeps, but I'm sure a lot of you guys are as well if you were up watching that Guff Wrexham game last night, guys. So yes, I'm pretty tired. I'm sure you guys are as well. Welcome in Primot, Crazy Joe, Adam, Bell, Dan Davey, Disco Dave. Everyone, thanks for joining us. I really do appreciate it. Get in there, you legends. Do us a favour at the start of this stream then and give us a massive like spike. Smash that thumbs up button if you haven't done so. That will help the stream out. Take a second to drop a like on it. It's free. So smash that like button if you want, and that will help the stream out no end. And also get yourself involved throughout the show. It is a fully interactive thing. So get involved and have your say throughout. We'll obviously give you the latest lowdown on what's happening with the news. But it is interactive, so get involved in the live chat. Have your say. And we will be reading your comments out. Plus, we do have a big Q&A at the end of the show as well. But yeah, to answer your question, I am melting in the sleep department. I didn't have a great sleep and just haven't been up that long. We will be back on for tonight's game, by the way. So Man United versus Real Madrid. It's on a bit earlier this time around, 1:30 a.m. UK time. Still a horrendously unsociable hour, but compared to a 3:30 a.m. start, it's good. Plus, it's actually going to be the first team that we're seeing, and not just a bunch of toddlers basically playing out there, which, no, it was always good to see the kids, but like I said last night, would have been nice to maybe have a smattering of senior players in there as well, just to make more of a game of it, because it was men versus boys there last night, and Wrexham have done us in the end, and we stayed up until 3:30 a.m. kickoff until 5:30 a.m. finish for that steaming pile of absolute mundane dissatisfaction. So it was obviously a horrible watch, but there you go. Hopefully this one tonight is going to be a good watch, and we will obviously have a proper team out against Real Madrid. Of course we will. Should be a good game. Gungshi says, like and retweet him for His Majesty the Pig. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Gungshi. Yes. So we have pinned the tweet to the top of the live chat as well. Go over and give us a cheeky little retweet on Twitter if you're that way inclined. That will help this stream out as well. We'll shout you out later. And drop a like on the stream. Right, let's get into it then, guys. Let's get into the latest news and updates. Once again, thanks for joining. Guys, so we've submitted a bid for Hoyland by the sounds of it. Get in there, my son. Doesn't look like it's an official written bid at this moment in time. But, early negotiations obviously taking place here. Hopefully it won't rage on too long in regards to, Man United getting a deal done for Hoyland with Atalanta. But Fabrizio Romano earlier on today reporting that he understands that Manchester United have sent the first verbal proposal to Atalanta for Rasmus Hoyland, which is a €60 million package all told. And the big structure is meant to be €50 million fixed fee plus €10 million in add-ons. Atalanta always wanted at least 70 million fee. PSG keep insisting with Hoyland's camp. Man United already agreed terms. So obviously we know that Hoyland wanted to join Manchester United and has already agreed personal terms with this football club. So that's obviously not the issue. The issue is just trying to get the agreement with Atalanta. So perhaps we could be persuaded to pay a little bit more than the €60 million that we've bid. But it does look pretty good, obviously, at this moment in time. It doesn't sound that far apart. If this is the case and Fab's right and we have submitted a €60 million bid all told and they want €70 million, well, it doesn't take a genius to work out that we could probably meet them in the middle at 65 million euros all told, perhaps increasing the add-ons or the bonus structure, etc. down the line, just to sweeten the deal a little bit for them. So obviously the amount of money that they were asking for is just astronomical. It's way too much money than what this guy's actually currently worth. Sometimes you got to pay a premium to get your guy, though, a la Anthony from Ajax. We paid a shitload of cash for that guy as well. So, you know, 5 million euros discrepancy is not really too much to worry Manchester United, I don't think, for signing Hoyland. So all things are looking pretty good, though. I think we probably will strike an agreement. I mean, in my opinion, they should snatch United's hand off with that offer that we've already sent them. 60 million euros for Rasmus Hoyland at this stage is a bloody good offer. 50 million up top with 10 down the line. That's more or less bang on what I said that Man United should be looking to spend on this guy. We shouldn't really be trying to pay any more than that. But worst case scenario, I suppose they might squeeze an extra 5 million euros out of us just to meet them in the middle there. If they wanted 70 and we've proposed 60, maybe we could add a little bit extra in terms of add-ons and maybe get this guy for 65. Let's ask the chat, how much do you think it takes to convince Atalanta to sell Hoyland to us now that you've heard this news that we have gone in for him with a 60 million opening offer? That's euros. 60 million euros opening offer, 50 up front, 10 down the line. I think 65 is the magic number, isn't it? They probably will try and squeeze an extra 5 million out of us, and they probably can. And Man United probably should pay that. Let's be fair. That would be like £57 million altogether. Hey there, Spooky Gore. Get in there, you legend. How you doing? Welcome in, welcome in. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good one. Still reeling from that 2-0 destruction of the Arsenal Holdings the other night. 65 mils to Super Fat Frank. Yeah, Kieran says 65. Boomy thinks 65 to 70. Mate, we've got to get something off the deal, don't we? If they want 70 million for him, they can spin on it. To be fair, guys, they can do one. That's too much cash for the guy, honestly. 65 says Ahab. 65 says Howard. 55 top says Danny. 65. I think they'll get an extra 5 million out of us. Let's face it, we do get bent over in this transfer market. Sing Games, yes, lad. He says, good deal if we get 60 million. Yeah, for 60 million euros, it's not a bad deal. Like if they were to accept that right now. For the sort of player that he is, the prospect that he is, the future he can have, the type of player that he is that Ten Hag wants, obviously, it's a pretty decent deal. It's about right. We shouldn't really be looking to pay more than that, but just because Man United are Man United, I do think they'll probably end up having a cheeky little extra 5 million added on to get the deal done there. Atalanta seemingly playing reasonable hardball, but we don't really know. As I said, there's been a lot of negotiations already, like dialogue behind the scenes that are taking place. This is just a first verbal offer that's been sent. So we were hoping for an actual written offer very soon. But essentially a verbal offer can be made and it can be agreed, and then you send a written offer. So maybe they're just having these discussions, thrash out a deal, and then get a written offer submitted, which they will accept very soon, and that way there's very little fanning around that takes place. So, you know, let's hope that's the case and it can get done pretty quickly. Manny Slouflaki, great to see you, mate. Oh, I've been following your Insta stories, lad. Looks like you're having a great time over there in Greece, lad. He says, boring off-season so far, mate. We should have been gunning for Mbappe. Manny Slouflaki, I mean, I have to disagree with you a little bit there. Okay, so Mbappe, obviously, yeah, fair enough. He is a bit of a baller, isn't he? Let's face it, he's one of the best players in the world and he's still young. This is kind of like the Mbappe era that we're entering into right now, obviously, with what's going on with Lionel Messi and Ronaldo finishing the game, or more or less finishing the game, obviously having gone to the MLS and Saudi. They're basically done now, aren't they? It's the Mbappe era. This is the Mbappe era coming now. And he is going to be the best player in the world for a number of years, probably. But you know what? He's a prima donna meltbag. He's an egomaniac. He's amazing, though. But also, I just don't see United, like, paying the amount of money for killing Mbappe to get him in and totally destroy our wage structure right now. Does Ten Hag really need an egomaniac like that? No, I'd take him on a season-long loan. But going forward, you'd have to pay £259 million for him, which is what this offer they have received from Saudi Arabia is, and then like 700 odd K a week or even more than that, and it just completely brings our wage structure into disrepute. All of a sudden people like Rashford are going, hang on a second, I'm on 300 odd K a week here, I've signed a deal here to stay here for, you know, less money offered elsewhere, and you brought this fucking Kylian Mbappe in and he's getting paid a shitload more. You know, I don't know, I think it could have the problem of maybe upsetting a few things at the football club. But he is amazing, though, don't get me wrong, he is amazing. But as far as, like, spending big money goes, I'd rather we went and got Kane for the short term. So I feel he is obviously a ridiculous talent, though. And if Man United had any bollocks about him, we'd at least try, I suppose, to go and get somebody like that. Certainly Harry Kane is somebody we could go and get as well. Jonathan Gallagher says, should have got Harry Kane. That's what I'm saying. So, yeah, you got your Mbappes of this world, your Harry Kanes of this world. Looks like we're going to get Hoyland, who is a cheaper option, obviously a younger option, but maybe in the future could be one of the best strikers in world football. So that's what we're going for. It's not the most ambitious right now because there are better, more experienced players who are costing a lot more money that we could go and get. So it's classic United cheaping out a little bit there. But then again, you have to trust in what Erik Ten Hag's doing. And Ten Hag perhaps might look at these guys and go, well, who do we want? Yeah, Mbappe's too much. He blows the entire budget for this season and next season, and he's an egomaniac. Harry Kane, slow. Maybe he's not the sort of guy that Ten Hag wants pressing from the front, even though he's a goal-scoring beast, and he's going to cost a bit of money, and he's a depreciating asset. Or he goes and gets the player that maybe suits his style, his pressing from the front sort of nature there. Maybe Hoyland actually is the guy for Kylian Mbappe. I've got to respect what he's doing. I don't like Mason Mount, personally. I think he's an overhyped, overrated Meltoid. But you know what? Ten Hag likes him, and Ten Hag obviously is going to utilise him. He is a good presser. He is somebody that can help in the transition. He can get you some goals. I trust in Ten Hag to utilise these guys. So I think we've got to just allow him to do his thing, go and get Rasmus Hoyland if that's who he wants. Maybe it's not down to that. Maybe it's just the fact that he's got a certain budget. The Glazers shithouses are shackling us. And in reality, maybe he would want Kane. But he knows that we don't have that readily available money to go and get this guy. So we're having to go for somebody a little bit cheaper. That's also a possibility. But anyway, I think Hoyland's a great signing for us. Of course, we want to get another number 9 as well, because then it really gives us the firepower that we need up front. Like, I keep saying this all summer long, but it's not going to happen, obviously. But Hoyland and Kane is the answer. If you get both of those guys, then we're absolutely sorted for the next few seasons. And we would probably be able to challenge on all fronts, because let's face it, Kane's an absolute world-class baller, and Hoyland's got the future to be one of the best strikers in the world as well. So that would solve all of our problems. But in order to do that, we'd have to, I don't know, maybe get Sheikh Jassim in, maybe sell half of the gash players at this football club that are still here and generate the cash, and actually show some ambition and be able to convince Spurs to sell him. So it's very unlikely. But Hoyland is a decent third choice. Let's face it, he is third choice or even fourth choice. I think most of us in the live chat, given the opportunity, would rather Mbappe, would rather Kane, would rather Osimhen. You know, I'm sure a lot of people would. Guys, let us know. If you could just sign one of those players, Osimhen, Kane, Mbappe or Hoyland, who would it actually be? I must admit, I think out of that list of 4 players right now, Hoyland's the 4th choice for me, to be honest. He's obviously really young and really good and has a bright, bright future ahead of him. But the other guys are just way more advanced, way more experienced, would probably get you a lot more goals right now. And they're just obviously bigger, better players as of right now, in terms of stature, reputation, amounts of goals that they score. So, you know, we are going for not the premier option here. I think that's fair. Osimhen says Ember Glance. Osimhen says Must Play. Osimhen. Kane says Johnny. Osimhen all day says Duke of Rodtown. Yeah, because he can actually give us what we need in terms of like the pressing from the front, the raw pace up the top there, and he's reasonably young, and he's proven to be prolific in terms of goal scoring. So he's kind of like one of the best options as well. But again, 100 million he will cost you. Kane all day says JDB. And Mbappe says Ryan. Kane's big match melter, says Captain Obvious. Need 2 strikers, definitely. 100% agreed. Osimhen, Hoyland, Mbappe, Kane. Well, that's interesting. I would say that's kind of almost backwards there, but fair play to you. Osimhen for sure, says Cass. Osimhen's a fast Lukaku, says Ryan. That's so not true, is it? So not true, lad. Kane all day, says United, we stand. Hoyland, Kane, Hoyland, Kane. Yeah, okay, fair enough. So Hoyland's obviously a good option for us, but he's not the number 1 option. He's just somebody that we're going for because the price is right. And also, I think he does give Ten Hag largely what he wants, you know, play style-wise. Guys, we've got a couple of 100 legends in here right now this afternoon. Good to see you all. Thanks for joining us for the show. Make sure you smash that like button on this video. Let's get this sucker to 200 likes. Like Spike. Hit that thumbs up button if you're just joining us. It's free and it helps the stream out, so drop a little like on this video. Also, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. We've got you covered with all the latest Man United news. We'll be back on tonight around about 9:30 or 10 p.m. with another cheeky little evening transfer news show with all the evening's news. And we'll also be doing a watch along later on in the wee hours of the morning, starting around about 1 a.m. for the Real Madrid versus Man United game in Houston, Texas. Oh yeah. So keep yourself locked on the channel, get yourself subscribed, click the old bell icon for notifications and get involved. Oh, Julian says Hoyland is a wish version of Flying Pig. Oh, hey, welcome in, Niall Kane. Good to see you. Good to see you. Mbappe has too much baggage and ego, says Andrew Cars. Yeah, there is definitely a big issue with even trying to sign him right now. Who knows whether or not he'll go to Saudi Arabia? So I think there's something to be said. I think, don't you have to stay in Saudi Arabia? Correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you have to stay in Saudi Arabia for at least 2 years to get tax-free earnings? Otherwise, they tax you to shit. I saw something about this. My brother was talking to me about this yesterday, that possibly you kind of need to be there for at least 2 years, and that way you get tax-free earnings. But if you're there for less than 2 years, then you get taxed to shit. Something like that. There's something like that going on there. So would Kylian Mbappe be prepared to give up a couple of his premier years as a footballer where he could go and add to his legacy and play for something like Real Madrid or whatnot, and go and play in Saudi Arabia and just follow the cash? Well, maybe if he's prepared to go there for a couple of years, but I mean, if it's tax-free, obviously, and he's earning hundreds of millions a year, it'd be hard to turn it down. I still think he probably would want to go over there, but because of that whole Saudi Arabia scenario, and because of what's currently going on in the money, it's just, that's not going to happen, is it? It's just not going to happen. So, very unlikely that we could even try for Kylian Mbappe. Hoyland's the guy. Let's get into some more stuff about Hoyland. So, it is expected that there will be an agreement between Manchester United and Atalanta very soon for maybe closer to 70 million euros. And Gianluca Di Marzio over in Italia reporting that he thinks that there will be an expected agreement soon. So he says that Man United are expected to reach an agreement of 70 million plus add-ons for Rasmus Hoyland. The next few days will be decisive. The parties hope to close the deal by the weekend. So, yeah, I mean, I think we'll probably end up paying 65 million euros personally, and that will include add-ons. Maybe 55 million up front, maybe 10 million down the line in add-ons. Or if United have got any bollocks about us, maybe we'll be able to agree a deal for 50 million euros plus 15 million in add-ons down the line. So I'm expecting there to be an agreement reached, hopefully by the weekend or very, very soon, for slightly less than what Di Marzio's reporting here. But I could see Man United going that far and, paying 70 million for him. I absolutely could, because United do get bent over in the transfer window, don't we? Big time. But he's expecting there to be an agreement soon. Some good news as well about Hoyland and PSG and that kind of stuff. So there were reports, obviously, that PSG were very interested in Hoyland, and there's been some sort of news reports coming today that say that PSG are offering a higher wage to Rasmus Hoyland than Manchester United, but apparently he still prefers a move to Old Trafford, which is obviously great news if that's true, and that he wants to come and join us for the right reasons and is looking forward to the prospect of being United's number one in the Premier League and having that project to get into with Ten Hag as his coach, etc. And I've always said, if you're a professional footballer, particularly a young one, why would you go and choose PSG in the French Farmers League over Man United unless they're paying you an absolutely exorbitant amount of money more? I get it, money talks, but come on, Man United's a much better project to get your teeth into, particularly right now when we might be going places and we desperately need a striker, than PSG is. PSG is just an absolute melter choice. It's a bottle job choice. But MEN reporting here that PSG fail to convince Rasmus Hoyland as he sets Manchester United as a priority. Get in there, my son! If this is true, and he has been offered more money over there, but he's still chosen Manchester United, that's exactly the sort of player that we want, isn't it? So that could be the case. DJ Disco Davis got his highlighted member comment in here, by the way. Thank you for being a member 16 months, my son. Go on, lad. Thank you, Disco Dave. He says, why do you think PSG are not going in for Kane instead of Hoyland? He'd certainly be a good replacement for Mbappe, and it would clear the deal for us. Bit surprised at that. Well, they may well do, actually, DJ Disco Dave. So they have been linked with him. They haven't negotiated or done any business right now. I guess they're just trying to get that Mbappe situation wrapped up, so know that they either 100% sell him or they know what's going on with the guy. So I guess they're just waiting to do that, because obviously that's not a guarantee that Mbappe is going to end up going to Saudi Arabia. But if they get £259 million to play with, if Mbappe does get sold, then I'm sure they probably will be trying to go get players like Kane, because, wow, I mean, what a player it would be to add to their ranks. But also, if I'm Kane, like I've just mentioned about PSG, if I'm Kane, I don't really want to go and play for PSG right now. He's looking for legacy. Yeah, who cares about winning the French Farmers League every single season? It's a guff league, guys. It's an absolutely guff league. It's mad. You know what I mean? It's mad. Je vous donne un anglais sur chocolat, s'il vous plaît. It's fucking mad, guys. It's not good. So, if you're Kane, why would you want to go and play for PSG? You know, okay, money, and all that. But in my opinion, it's just a bit of a rough, it's just a bit of a rough choice to make. It's just a money choice, and it's got no extra added legacy. Jarvis, thank you for being a member 16 months, by the way, there. I appreciate you, DJ Disco Dave, lad. Yeah, 100% Jarvis, he says, agree, Pig. Hoyland will choose us over PSG. And let's not forget, PSG have no pull on Scandinavian players. Precisely. Great shout there, Jarvis. Yes, I mean, look, if you're a young player, particularly, maybe if you're an older player, like coming to the end of your career, kind of like when Messi went there, when he had to be forced out of Barcelona, essentially, he had to go somewhere, and he can get massive money going there, and it's a reasonable European league. Maybe it makes sense to go there for a little while. But as a 20-year-old player, really little sense, I think, to go and play for PSG instead of Manchester United in the Premier League. Same goes for Harry Kane. Why would you want to go there? I'd rather go and play for Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga 100% than PSG in League One. So I think it's the same. I think ideally Kane would rather stay in the Premier League, but it's down to Spurs, obviously. Maybe if Kane stays true to what he desires and perhaps forces Spurs' hand later on, maybe he could have a say in that. But right now, I just don't understand why anybody would choose PSG over Manchester United. So I agree with you there, Jarvis. I think Hoyland will choose us over PSG, and by all accounts, he already sort of has done. So kind of like the Mason Mount situation as well a little bit. So there's a report here that says that Mount rejected similar proposals from Liverpool, Arsenal and Chelsea. Hoyland has rejected a higher wage from PSG because he wants Manchester United. Ten Hag's been quoted as saying there were lots of doubts when we approached players last summer. This year, they see the ambition in the project, and many quality players really want to come. I think that's key, guys. We've got Ten Hag here, who seems like a great coach to play for. Really great style that we play. Plus, he just seems like a real great coach, like a nice guy, but also like a, just what you want in terms of having the right mentality, I think. And then you've also got like the draw of playing in the Premier League, the draw of playing for United. We're on the verge of hopefully getting new owners at this football club, which, if you're a prospective player coming in here, you're looking at where United are right now thinking, crikey, this club is probably going places over the next 5 years. And what a time to come and be a part of it. So, and they've got a great set of players as well. Let's be honest, playing with people like Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford, and the list goes on, is a nice pull. Plus, we have got Champions League football. That's a big thing. Liverpool, obviously, there is supposedly interested in Sofian Amrabat. Sofian Amrabat's like, see you later on, Scousers. Not interested in them because they're playing on Thursday nights in the Europa League, guff. Man United have Champions League football. Man United are going to be hopefully going places this season. And so it does make a big difference. That's why Arsenal could sign Rice, because they have Champions League football. It's the same deal. So players are wanting to come to Manchester United. And like Ten Hag says, this summer, it's easier. It's easier to convince players to come. Last summer, there were doubts when we approached players, says Ten Hag. But this year, they see the ambition of the project, and many quality players really want to come. So that's why Mason Mount's choosing us. That's why Onana's choosing us. Onana just played for Inter in the Champions League final. Do you know what I'm saying? And he's coming to Manchester United, not just for the money, not just for the extra money, not just because he mates with Ten Hag, but because of the project and what we can actually give these guys in terms of Champions League football, etc. So it's a very exciting place to play football in the Premier League for United and in the Champions League. Very, very exciting. So that's what it's down to. It's down to the fact that this is a very big project at the football club, and it's a much better attractive proposition than going to play in the French Farmers League for PSG. Sin Game says we got 92 likes and 236 watching. You know what, guys? That's Harry Maguire levels of liking. Hit that thumbs up button if you're just getting in here, guys. Help us get to 100 likes. Smash that like button immediately. Let's have a like spike. Let's see if we can get 200 likes on the stream. And get yourself involved throughout the show. Thank you very much for that, Sin Games. Appreciate you, dude. Yes, get in there. Right then. Okay, so, yeah, PSG obviously have reportedly had an offer, or certainly a verbal conversation with Rasmus Hoyland's representatives, where they supposedly have offered more money. And all of the reports coming out today say that Hoyland has essentially rejected them in favour of Manchester United. So I'm liking this, guys. I think it's obviously a very, very good sign that he's wanting to come to United and he probably isn't going to have his head turned easily. You couldn't really turn down a massive amount of money more, I suppose, if United aren't prepared to match it. But at this moment in time, it seems like United are the club that he wants. He's already agreed the personal terms with Manchester United. That's not the issue. That was reported a long time ago. So he's happy with what Manchester United are proposing. He wants to play for Ten Hag and United. It's a great project, and it's just down to the two clubs reaching that agreement. So I feel like we've basically 90% got a chance of signing this guy. There's always a way that it could fall down, I suppose. Maybe Atalanta demand £90 million and we go, no, that's just ridiculous. But by all accounts, that doesn't seem like it's going to be the situation right now. We'll probably be able to negotiate a deal with them around 60 or 65 million euros. Or, I guess PSG or another club comes in and offers him an astronomical improvement in terms of wages and it changes his mind. Those are the only ways this falls down, really. So it's a 90% chance that Man United sign this guy, I think, at this moment. Excellent news. And as I say, they may have offered more money, but Hoyland's reportedly wanting Manchester United, which is big. Sky Sports reporting that PSG are offering a higher wage to Rasmus Hojlund than Manchester United, but he still prefers a move to Old Trafford. Get in there, my son. So he's rejected those mugs, it seems like. So I think he's going to end up a United player, folks. Let's ask the chat, where does he sign for? Who does he sign for? Does he stay at Atalanta? Does he go to PSG? Does he come to United? What do you guys think? It's almost nailed on. Come on. It's a great project under Ten Hag right now with Champions League football in the Premier League. It's obviously going to be United, isn't it? Kieran says United. PSG going to be snubbed. United, says Nick. United all day, says Stephanie. I know, it's looking good. United, £60 million, says the Vutinator. Aaron says come to United. Gungshi thinks he's coming to United. IQ says he's not worth more than 45. Okay, so I feel what you're saying. I mean, listen, 20 years of age, only 9 goals last season. But come on. Come on, he's obviously got massive potential. You're paying for the potential here. Plus, he probably would come in and score quite a lot of goals for us at the tip of the Manchester United team this season if we play our cards right and dominate and attack the way, hopefully, which we're going to under Ten Hag this season. He'd probably get a lot of opportunities, score a lot of goals. He's constantly be developing as well. There'll be an adaptation period, but I feel like he will do a lot better this season just because he's more advanced. And he'll have Man United and the coaching staff of United there to back him up. And he'll probably go on and have a good season. I don't think he's going to do what Kane did last season or anything. But I think he'll have a good season. And then it's about the future of this guy. The sky's the limit for Rasmus Hojlund. And in 2 years, 3 years' time, we could be talking about him like one of the best goal scorers in the world. So, plus he's somebody that gets involved in the build-up play as well. He's not just a one-trick pony. He's not just somebody that's going to be playing on the last man all the time. He can get involved in the build-up play. He can get you assists. He can link up. So that's important as well for what we're going to be doing. So I think it's pretty much nailed on that he'll be coming to United. It's just a case of us agreeing that deal with them now. United all day, yes indeed, Salford Killer Gaming. Sin says the player we want is the one that wants to play for us. We get this deal done. Precisely, that's it. And if he wants to play for us, get him in there. Well said that. We don't want players. We don't have to want to convince players and pay them loads of money to come and play for us. We want players that are prepared to come and play for us, for even less money than what other teams are playing. People were slagging off us getting a new deal done for Marcus Rashford not that long ago. But by all accounts, Rashford had turned down offers from other clubs around the continent where he could receive more money than Manchester United. Those are the sorts of players we want. Players that want to play for Manchester United, even if it means less money. There's too many people in this game today just interested in the money. Look at all these players going to Saudi Arabia. Look at Ruben Neves. I mean, I understand players go into these retirement leagues like the MLS and Saudi if they're a little bit older. I don't blame Benzema at his age to go and absolutely make himself minted for life. Or Cristiano Ronaldo even, to a lesser extent. But certainly players like Ruben Neves, 26 years of age, going to Saudi Arabia. I get it, he's setting his family up, I understand it. But also, it's a lack of ambition, it's a lack of legacy. He's just going to follow the money. That's not what we want. Obviously, Rashford, and obviously players like Hoyland and these guys, they could go and get more money elsewhere. They could go and get more money playing in the Saudi League. But it's not great for their legacy. It's not great for enjoying their football. They want to play for Manchester United, and I want players who want to play for Manchester United. Absolutely. Hey, Mike Hill, thank you so much there. Appreciate you, Mike Hill. Get in there. Thank you very much for the super chat here, guys. Everybody, please can we get a love heart in the live chat for Mike Hill. He has sent in A raw super chat there. He says, if you ever feel useless, remember Arsenal are signing food ingredients just to be cooked by Man City. Get in there, my son. Come on. Absolutely. Rice has been acquired by them, mate. They're going to go and get Kevin Lasagna next, mate. And Jimmy Pasta. I like your shout there, Mike Hill. Thank you so much, bud, for the super chat. Get some love in there, everybody, for Mike Hill. Good one. Jarvis Cocker says, if we can get Hoyland and Amrabat for a reasonable price, we might have money for Kane. I love that. I mean, yes, look, obviously Kane's not going to be on the agenda for Manchester United until after we've signed Amrabat and Hoyland. And only will be on the agenda if one of two things or both happens. Sheikh Jassim is announced the new owner of Manchester United ASAP, and we can get rid of those Glazer shithouses, and they're prepared to come in and sugar daddy us for a little bit and spend a good bit of cash as an initial investment. Or we go and sell all of the crap players that we've got at the football club and generate loads of cash in order to go and get Kane and show that ambition later on in the window. Spurs probably won't be up for doing business and selling him right now. We're going to have to make them sweat. That's big ifs as well about whether or not Bayern's going to sign him or not. If they don't, or if they have an agreement in place, maybe United might be tempted to go in and try to sign Harry Kane. But first of all, we need a few things to happen. We need to get rid of a lot of the players at this football club that are stinking up the gaff to free up cash. I really doubt that United, having already spent 110 million on Onana and Mason Mount, with Rasmus Hoyland and Amrabat coming in, taking our potential spending up to close to 200 million. I doubt we're prepared to spend close to 100 million to get Harry Kane on top of all of that. Only though, we could do though, if we have sold a good proportion of our gash players at the football club. So if we do generate 40 million from selling McTominay, if we do manage to get rid of Harry Maguire, if we can sell Henderson, if we can sell Martial to Saudi, if we can sell Bailly, if we can sell Donny van de Beek, even if we can have a good old-fashioned jumble sale, have a good old clear out of these guff players at the club, there's Harry Kane right there. We could sign him, I suppose. It's very unlikely, but I like your optimism. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. We've still got an outside chance of maybe having that interest in going in for him. And so we should, because if we had Hoyland and Kane, they're two totally different players as well up there, which is great. That's what you want. You want players who are not the same. You want players who can bring you different things to the table. And if we actually had Kane, it would be absolutely worth us, buying them both, because they're two different players. Thank you, Rushmano, for letting us know, lad. Get in there, my son. What is the big update, lad? Can you put it in the live chat? I'm looking at your tweets, but I can't actually figure it out. Is it just what we're discussing here about Manchester United being in advanced talks with Hoyland? Because we've already talked about that, my son. But yeah, absolutely. That is the case at this moment in time, that Manchester United are having, advanced talks with Atalanta over a deal for striker Rasmus Hoyland. That is the latest news that we're talking about, obviously. But yes, if there's anything else, though, let us know there, Mr. Rushmano, my son. But thank you for sending us the updates, dude, live on the stream. Get in there. We could do a Kane deal as Sing Games. Arsenal did Rice deal over 4 years. We can pay off Kane over 4 years. Just give 25 million now, says Sing Games. I suppose so. Look, you're going to have to pay huge money. How much do you think it takes to convince Spurs to sell him to Manchester United right now, guys? Let us know. But I think it's £100 million, and that's a shit ton of money for somebody with 1 year left on this contract who's going to leave in a few years' time at United in 3 or 4 years for nothing, essentially. So it's a crazy money that we'd be spending there, really, guys. Pretty crazy money. 100 million says Cass, 100 million at least, 100 million. Pretty outrageous amount of money, yeah. So that really is a big question mark. We'd have to sell Maguire. We'd have to sell a lot of these guys. We'd have to sell McTominay and Fred and Donny and Martial. We probably have to have a good old-fashioned clear out. So, it's unlikely, but it's possible. Don't rule it out completely, peeps. Don't rule it out completely. Okay, so just to give you the rundown quickly, if you're only just getting in the live stream, I can see there's a lot of legends just getting in the live stream, such as Griffo Chaz. What's happening? He says, am I the only one who thinks Kane and Hoyland isn't a good idea? Two strikers like that only work in one team when one can play in midfield. Can Kane or Hoyland play in midfield? I don't know. What? What are you talking about, Griffo? Bad take, Griffo. I usually like what you're saying in here, but you what? Strikers playing in midfield? Are you taking the piss, lad? I mean, okay, listen. I don't really understand what you mean. Listen, they can play in different games, mate. They can play at different times. Man United are going to have to play a shitload of games all season in different competitions. There'll be times when players are injured. There'll be times when players need a rest. There'll be times when you need to bring somebody on for half an hour at the end of the game. There'll be time when you've got to rotate. That's why you need 2 strikers, so you can play the whole different amount of fixtures in all different competitions all season long. We need 3 strikers, if anything, never mind 2. So I think it's absolutely paramount we get 2 strikers, I think it's paramount we get 2 strikers. That way we've got cover for all scenarios, and you've got the perfect end of the spectrum as well. You've got Kane, who's the ready-made experienced guy right now, who is literally the guy to come in and score you all of the goals right now, proven in the Premier League, experienced, 29 years of age. Then you've got the other guy at the other end of the spectrum, who's an up-and-comer, who's 20, who's a hot prospect, who's going to learn from the likes of Harry Kane, who's going to play maybe a slightly lesser role, maybe a bit part role compared to the main guy, but he's still going to play a lot of games, and you're going to develop him. And then in 2 or 3 years' time, when Kane's ready to hang up his boots at United, you've got this ready-made beast, Rasmus Hoyland, to take over the number 1 mantle spot from him. So I think that's really what it's about. You want to have that experience, you want to have that mixture of youth and experience, and you want to have a good balance up there. 2 strikers is the absolute minimum that Manchester United need, really. And that's if we're considering players like Martial still being here, or Rashford deputising as a third at the number 9. Honestly, 2 strikers is perfect for what Manchester United need right now, because it gives us the cover in all scenarios, and it gives us the ability to play in all of these competitions with good options. Like, we don't want to have to say go and get Hoyland, and then if Hoyland gets a knock and he's injured, or we have to rest him, or he gets a suspension or whatever, then we've got Tony Martial to call upon. Tony's not good enough or consistent enough to rely on, and he's barely fit and available. So we don't want that scenario. We want to have, if anything, too many players to choose from. It's a great problem to have. I know it's a different era, but when you think about some of United's best eras of football, yeah, okay, it's times when we used to play with 2 strikers a lot of the time, so it is a different scenario. But we used to have a lot of depth up there. Remember when we had York and Cole and Sheringham and Solskjaer? Remember when we had Tevez and Rooney and Ronaldo and just all this quality depth of players who could do a job up there for you? That's what we need. We need quality in depth. You don't need 4 top strikers anymore like we did back in the day. You need 2 or 3, though. You certainly need at least 3, I think. And you need 2 really good ones and one other one who can come in and do a job for you as well. So I think we need 3 strikers, personally. But we've already got Rashford. We've already got Martial who can play there. Sancho might be utilised centrally as well. You've heard quotes from Ten Hag over the last couple of days saying that he feels that Jadon Sancho's best in his central position, so he might be utilised at the striker position throughout the season as well as a backup. But you certainly do need a couple of good players to come in and and take that position as their own, personally. Yeah, Jarvis says Kane will revolutionise our attack. The fluidity will make it almost impossible to defend against. It will be dynamite. Absolutely. And what I love about Kane is he's got that potential to drop deeper. He can be involved in the build-up play as well. And when you've got runners off of him, like Rashford and Anthony and these guys, like when you've got somebody who actually can score when he's in the box, like Kane, can get into the right positions and the right movement with his goal-scoring ability. He's got the movement down to a T. He's absolutely second to none in that department. But he can also do the role of getting deeper and playing involved in the build-up play as well and creating chances for you. Crikey, you should see players like Rashford and Anthony flourish as well, because they're going to actually be able to play off of Kane. They're not just feeding Kane, they can actually play off of Kane as well. So I do think that is a big factor. Vooty says we've got 131 likes. Everyone, please do keep hitting that thumbs up button if you haven't done so. Drop a little like on it. You know it makes sense. Smash that like button. And that would be much appreciated. Thank you, every single one of you legends, for hitting the likes. We're on our way to 150 likes. Keep dropping that like button. Every little like helps the stream, helps us compete with clickbait wankers and corporation channels. So make sure you hit that subscribe as well and smash that like button, guys. Oh, yes. FCG says, hi, Piggy. Hope you're well. Would you prefer to sign Harry Kane now with an overpriced cost signing fees, or wait a year and sign him for free? Right now, bud. Right now. Pay the money. Get him in there. Get our man. It gives us the exclusive rights to Harry Kane right now as well. If you were to wait for a year to get him for a free, yes, you're going to save a heck of a lot of money, but you also risk the possibility of missing out altogether on this guy. Because, as I said before, if Harry Kane was available tomorrow for free or in a year's time for free, every single top club in the world would be interested in Harry Kane. course they would. You would find offers from Real Madrid and Barcelona and Bayern Munich, and everybody would be tabling an offer to Harry Kane to try and sign him on a free. That is the nature of the player. He's one of the best strikers in the world, if not the best, to be honest, but he's certainly one of the best strikers in the world, and any team in world football, I think, would be interested in Kane if he was available for nothing. So that's the risk you run if you don't go and get him right now. You're getting him, you're paying the money now to get your guy and to get that exclusivity on Harry Kane. So I would spend the money right now. When you actually, it's obviously not as simple as this, but when you think about who we've got at the football club that we can get rid of, it finances the Harry Kane deal 100%. Maguire's on 200 grand a week. Martial's on a couple hundred grand a week. That covers his wages just selling those two players alone if you can. And then if you generate 25 mil from the Harry Maguire sale, generate 35 mil from the McTominay sale, Donny, all of these players that we've just mentioned previously, that covers the Harry Kane transfer. So it's actually a bit of a no-brainer to try and sign him right now and to get rid of all of our guff-bag footballers that are currently just not really wanted at the team. Makes sense. But I want Hoyland as well. Don't get me wrong, I want Hoyland as well. United, if we had proper ambition, we would get both those guys, and then we would be a force this coming season. Then we'd have exactly what we need. Two different types of strikers who give us something different, and goals galore at the top of the pitch. That's exactly what we're crying out for, and that's what we miss. Thank you very much, Must Play. Appreciate you, my lad. Hey there, Yellow Wellies. Welcome in. How have you been, lad? And Wildcasters, that's if you can sell them. It's a big if. You're right. It's a big if. Let's get on to that then. So, West Ham are reportedly interested in a couple of our players, right? So you've got players like McTominay and Maguire who are reportedly targets for West Ham. Just a bit of an update on that whole situation. So there are lots of reports coming out that United want £45 million for Scott McTominay. So this is via the Telegraph that says that West Ham are considering a move for Scott McTominay, but Man United would demand around £45 million to think about cashing in on this player. Man United want 20 million to sell Fred apparently as well, so that's 65 million for both of those two. The Brazilian has been linked with a move to Fulham and Galatasaray in Saudi Arabia, so we could get 20 million for Fred. But I mean, 45 million for Scott McTominay, in my opinion, is asking too much money. Just got to be honest. I mean, we don't want to price teams out of the deal. That is greedy from United. This player's pretty bang average. I know he's mid-20s. I know he's a big Scotland player, big international there for them. And he's kind of versatile as well. He can play as an advanced midfielder. He can play CDM if you really want. Obviously, that's his main role, I suppose, on paper. But I don't think he's all that great there, to be fair. He can even play centre-back. So he's got some value to him. Homegrown nature, all of that sort of stuff. He's a good player for a mid-table side. But 45 million is asking way too much. We run the risk of pricing him out of a move there, I think, personally, if we're not careful. And reports that suggest that West Ham may not be interested in that. So this is a report that says West Ham are put off signing Scott McTominay because of £40 million price tag. I'd be put off signing Scott McTominay for 40 mil as well, guys. Don't know about you. I know, obviously, we know that they've got cash waiting there and they sold Declan Rice for 105 million. But that doesn't mean we can take the piss with Scott McTominay. They could go elsewhere and try and get Palhinha for a bit more money, who's much a better central defensive midfielder than Scott McTominay is. So, it would be a bizarre decision, I think, from Man United to try and demand that amount of cash. Let's ask the chat, how much do you think Scott McTominay's worth right now in this current market? But I think he's a £30 million player maximum. Maybe even £25 million if we're being totally honest. He's been crap for seasons. I don't really understand the appeal in Scott McTominay. He's all right. But goodness me, 45 million. If we got 45 million off of West Ham or anybody, it would be the best piece of transfer business we've done for a decade, I think, in terms of selling a player, because he's just not worth that. 20 million max, says Arsenal Manic. 25 says Paul. 30 top says Pete. 20 says Cavalier. 25 says Jay. 30 says Madhouse. 25 max 15. 25 to 30 says Unk Squid. 25 to 30. You guys are right, aren't you? Obviously, Man United are just trying to negotiate, I think, for Scott McTominay. So we're trying to go in there high. 20 to 30 if we're lucky, says Gungshi. At best, 25 to 30. 20 says Mike. I'm with you guys. Somewhere around about 25, 30 million pounds actually does make sense for Scott McTominay. And for a team like West Ham, who've just sold Rice, they can get themselves a good player in Scott McTominay. He would be a perfect sort of player to go there and play for a mid-table Premier League side. It makes perfect sense. He's not good enough for Manchester United, but he probably would be a good player for them. Same goes for Harry Maguire. But in all fairness, that's too much money to ask. We do run the risk of pricing him out of a move if we're demanding that amount of cash. Hopefully we're not. I honestly think this story is probably not even true. Like, there's lots of different outlets saying 45 million or 40 million is what United want. I just don't even think this is true. We can't, in our right mind, think he's actually worth that amount. When we're talking about going to get players like Sofian Amrabat for 30 million euros, who's better, how could we possibly think that we can get 45 million for Scott McTominay? So I don't think there's much basis to this story. But let's just hope it's not the case and Man United are not looking to play hardball for Scotty. Because in an ideal scenario, we sell Fred and McTominay for somewhere in the region of, 50 million for both of them. Get those two players gone, and that's half of Harry Kane that you could maybe go and get there. Or it finances the whole Hoyland deal, or the whole Amrabat deal, plus a nice chunk of change left over. So I think we've got to be realistic about the amount of money we could get for Scott McTominay and not ask for too much. Otherwise, we could end up being stuck with that guy. And nobody wants to be stuck with Scott McTominay, guys. He's bang average, and he has been bang average at United for several seasons. And it would obviously be, I think, a mistake to not allow him to move for 25 or 30 million pounds. Gunshi, you're right, and it's the perfect candidate for the Ginger Goblin's cape. Aye, that's right. David Moyes would be keen to get that Scottish legend, Scotty McTominay, in the side. Definitely swigging that iron brew and backing up the Ginger Goblin over there at West Ham. Perfect sort of replacement for Declan Rice as well. Obviously not as good, but a good cheap option. Somebody that they can get in there to come and do a similar sort of role for them, but also they can pocket like 80 million or 70 million pounds from the Declan Rice deal and still get another player who's in that position. So excellent move it would be for all concerned, I think, if we could send him for 30. West Ham get a good proven player in the Premier League. When I say proven, I mean he does play in the Premier League, and he's Scottish with David Moyes, at the club. That's a factor. So I think it's quite likely that he goes to West Ham in this summer transfer window. He's understandably looking at his options this summer, Scott McTominay. So he wants to obviously make the right decision. And in an ideal world, it's known that Scott McTominay would rather stay at Manchester United because he loves United. And fair play to him. He's always tried his hardest for United. I've got no issues with his effort levels. But the thing is, he's just not good enough for United and Ten Hag. And Ten Hag's been quite ruthless in recent times with making these decisions and getting players gone. And I think he probably will have that conversation, especially if we're signing Amrabat, have the conversation with McTominay and say, hey, look, you're just going to be a bit part player, mate. You're going to be a backup. Do you want to be a backup, or do you want us to sell you? I want to sell you to get the cash, to be honest. Do you want us to sell you so you can go and play somewhere else and play regular football? It's up to him, really. Does he want to play a small part in a big Manchester United team, or does he want to go somewhere else and play regularly? It's up to the player. We don't know what his ambitions are, but certainly Manchester United should be trying everything we can to get rid of the guy, as is the same scenario for Maguire. There's still not much in terms of movement for Maguire. We're obviously looking for a club to come in and be crazy enough to spend money on Slabby. Could happen, but it's also reasonably unlikely because of the amount of money that he's paid. So we'll see, but maybe we could do some sort of a double deal for Maguire and Scotty. That would be the best situation ever. Let's get on to the next piece of transfer news then, guys, that we're going to discuss in this video. As always, keep hitting the like button, get involved, want to hear your thoughts throughout, obviously, and stick around for the big Q&A at the end of the show as well. But we'll get on to the Amrabat latest updates now, folks. So Man United still working on Amrabat. It's expected we'll go in with a solid bid very, very soon for him. And he's obviously agreed to join Manchester United as well. There's a couple of players, Hoyland and Amrabat, have both already agreed to join us, which is great news. And he's not part of the travelling squad with Fiorentina for their tour at this moment. Thank you, Caleb, for subscribing, by the way. Caleb Y. If you guys are new, hit the subscribe like Caleb. He's not part of the Fiorentina travelling squad to Belgrade for their pre-season, guys, which is obviously a big indicator. All accounts are that he's lost his head at Fiorentina and he wants to go to Manchester United now that we've got that strong interest in him, that Ten Hag wants him. He doesn't want to stay at Fiorentina, and he's not even playing with their squad. He's not been training with them. He's not gone on the tour. These are great indicators that he will come and play for us, hopefully. And loads of different people saying that he's already agreed to join us, which is great. The amount of money involved to get this guy is peanuts. We're talking about 30 million euros combined here with 25 million up front, 5 million euros in add-ons to get a really good player. I mean, it's just an absolute no-brainer from United to sign him in there and maybe get rid of Scotty. Perfect improvement in the midfield, perfect acquisition for Ten Hag and what he's trying to do, get a good technical player in the midfield there to play a rotationary role. So that's really exciting. I'm really looking forward to seeing us hopefully mastermind this transfer, because that would actually be a very good deal for United for that amount of cash. And so he's not travelling with Fiorentina, which is a big indicator there. Manager Vincenzo Italiano has alluded to the fact that he's lost his focus at the club. And so I think that really tells you the whole story of where his head's at. And then there's another report here that says Manchester United are ready to accelerate and formalise an offer of around 25 million euros to Fiorentina for Sofyan Amrabat. So 25 million up front, 5 million in add-ons is the expected amount that it could take to get this deal done. And that would be a tremendous bit of business from United. So we're doing some things at the moment, guys. It's exciting. It's actually been quite an exciting summer transfer window. It started off a little bit slow, but we managed to get Mount over the line pretty damn sharpish. Onana didn't take too long. Those are two really big players for what Ten Hag's trying to do. Rasmus Hoyland would be an exceptional talent to bring in at such a young age and get contracted to us for 5 or 6 years. And Sofyan Amrabat is a better option than Fred and McTominay. And for that amount of money, we're talking about Fred and McTominay money here. About the same amount of cash as those guys are worth, and that maybe what we could generate for one player sale there. I mean, it's just like a swap for a better player, essentially. We're swapping our guff bags in Fred and McTominay, who have been proven to be mediocre at this club, and we'll be getting somebody better. So it's an excellent bit of transfer business if it goes through, and if Man United can agree that deal with Fiorentina. But it does seem like Fiorentina are open to selling. I've seen bits and bobs that they'd rather get him sold soon because they don't like the disruption that's taken place in the squad. They want to obviously plan for the new season, get that cash in, spend the money, get a replacement, and they don't want to take a long time fanning around with this Sofyan Amrabat business when they know that his head is elsewhere. So it's looking very likely that he will be a Manchester United player soon enough as well. Of course, not done. There's still ways it could fall down. One or two other teams interested in him maybe. We've heard that Liverpool were interested in him, but he's like not interested in moving to Scousland because they've got Europa League guff and they obviously had a bit of a poor season last season. And plus, who would you rather play for? That menacing individual floppy cloppy jalopy or Eric Ten Hag, Mr. Dutch Stone Cold Steve Austin himself? Give me a hell yeah in the live chat. And that's the bottom line because Eric Ten Hag said so, guys. He's obviously a much more attractive coach to play for. Not just looks-wise, but also in terms of his mentality, etc. I believe so. Anyway, Klopp's a lunatic. So, plus Liverpool are shite, and also they're, in the Europa League on a Thursday night, which does present itself with big problems for them to try and attract the top players. So Amrabat's more than likely to want to play for United. Plus Amrabat, is a good signing for Man United in that sense to play in the Champions League for us. Continental player, but also we've got a lot of games to play with the Champions League, so you need good players with depth. Excellent acquisition that will be. So Amrabat to United for 30 million euros could be the order of the day, guys. Hopefully it won't take too long. We're expected to have submitted a bid very soon to formalise the offer around about 25 million euros up front with 5 million add-ons. That's the situation there. And Fiorentina are going to struggle to keep hold of him. They're open to selling him because of the fact he wants away. And so it's just a formality, really. We've got to go through the process, obviously, have that negotiation. I'm sure they'll try and ask for a little bit more money than what these reports are saying, but whether or not they'll get that is another story. It represents fantastic business for Man United to get this guy in for about 30 million euros. It's a cheap deal, and it would give us an excellent squad player and somebody that can, come in and do a good role for us. He can come in and play for Casemiro when Casemiro's not available and play that deep line playmaker role and be a good defensive player, but he can also play alongside Casemiro and be a pass master and get that play going forward. So technical passer of the football, that's what we would be acquiring here. It's totally different to the types of players that McTominay and Fred are, and he's obviously a good all-round midfielder, but certainly the technical aspect is what excites me about him because he's just going to be a much better passer than those guys. And he can come in and do that great job that Casemiro can do sometimes as well, sit deep and protect the back line, but also get the play going. So he's a playmaker as well. So I do really like him. He's a proper midfielder, guys, that obviously Manchester United would benefit from. So get in there, my son. Hopefully that's coming very soon. We'll keep you posted on that. We would get smashed with Amrabat and Cass in midfield. What do you mean there, Matty G? You what? You're absolutely talking nonsense, lad. Why would you say that? That's outrageous. We'll have options. That's what it's good. Exactly. So we'd still have Mason Mount and Bruno and Cassie being the first choice midfielders. But if anybody can't play for whatever reason, you've got Amrabat to come in there and Ericsson to go in there. So, you know, it gives us great quality and depth. And Kobbie Mainoo to go in there. It'd be excellent. Neil Duffin, great to see you, lad. He says, Pig, looking forward to the Champions League. Getting excited with the squad build-up. Get in there, my son. I know. Really looking forward to that, mate. Excellent. And I'm sure a lot of these players are as well at United, and prospective players coming into the club as well. It's a big, big difference having Champions League football compared to Europa League Cup. Can't wait for the Champions League this year, mate. It's going to be awesome, isn't it, to be back in it. The champions! Really looking forward to hearing that theme music, and it'll be excellent. I can't wait either. Great to see you, Neil. Hope you're having a great day, mate. Thank you for joining. Absolute Don. Right, okay, so let me just check out a couple of the updates that are coming in here real quick, guys. See if there's anything we've missed real quick from new reports as we've been live. Don't think there's anything too major that's come in since we've started this stream. Obviously, the main business is to do with Amrabat. Obviously, Kane's got that interest from Bayern Munich. We're waiting for more confirmation on the Mbappe front as well, but we don't really care about that. So, yeah, I mean, let's just do a quick rundown of what we've discussed in this video then, folks. And I will be getting into the Q&A for with the chat in a few minutes' time. So stick around, we'll have a big Q&A. And also, give us a retweet. The tweet is pinned to the top of the live chat. Give us a cheeky little retweet if you want. And that'll help us out. And also, we'll shout you out in a minute. And make sure you smash the like and subscribe to the channel. But before I do get into the Q&A, I'm just going to do a rundown of what we've discussed in this video. So the main headlines of today: Fabrizio Romano reporting that a first verbal offer has been sent to Atalanta for Rasmus Hoyland for €60 million package, which is basically essentially a structured bid of €50 million up front with 10 million in add-ons. Atalanta are wanting reportedly €70 million. PSG keep insisting with Hoyland's camp, but Man United have already agreed terms. So we have now submitted a verbal offer. Hopefully that can get thrashed out over the next coming days and we can agree a deal. Perhaps in the region of €65 million might be the magic number. You know, if they want €70 million and we've submitted €60 million bid, perhaps we could meet them somewhere in the middle there and maybe agree a deal for €65 million, which is the upper limit, which is the absolute maximum of what we should be paying for Rasmus Hoyland, to be fair. But we should pay that for him and just get him in now. Get him in as soon as possible. By all accounts, he wants to join Manchester United. He's agreed personal terms with us. Other reports suggest that it's expected that we will get an agreement soon with them. So Gianluca Di Marzio reporting over in Italy that Man United expect to reach an agreement of €70 million plus add-ons for Rasmus Hoyland. I think that's a bit much. Says the next few days will be decisive. The parties hope to close the deal by this weekend. So it seems that Atalanta, after trying to get this Al Torre replacement for Rasmus Hoyland, they want the cash soon, and obviously they want to get this deal wrapped up so they can start to reinvest and plan for the season. So they're looking for a reasonably quick sale if they can get the money that they want. And obviously Man United are trying to get somebody early doors. You've heard Ten Hag's comments recently about trying to get players into the squad to work with the team in pre-season, which is very important. He said it's not always possible to do that, though. But he said that's what he wants to happen, is to get somebody in as soon as possible to work with him and the squad. So we're trying to get this deal done soon as well. So hopefully that negotiation doesn't take too long and we can reach that agreement very, very soon. Also, he's understandably rejected PSG. I mean, we'll see if that's really true. But at the moment, it does seem like it's difficult for PSG to convince him unless they're prepared to really pay a huge amount more money to Rasmus Hoyland than what United's prepared to pay him. But even then, he's seemingly got his heart set on Manchester United. He likes the project at United. He knows that he will be one of the main guys up there scoring goals. Playing for Ten Hag in the Premier League and in the Champions League is a great prospect. So many outlets suggesting that PSG failed to convince Rasmus Hoyland as he sets Manchester United as a priority. Like we said, other players at the moment interested in the project that Manchester United have at the club. Ten Hag quoted as saying there were lots of doubts when we approached players last summer, but this year they see the ambition in the project and many quality players really want to come. That's the difference that having, Champions League football can make. Mount rejected similar proposals from Liverpool, Arsenal and Chelsea. Hoyland has rejected a higher wage from PSG because he wants Manchester United. And it's also known that Amrabat has rejected an offer or an approach from Liverpool in favour of Manchester United as well. Because of the project that represents itself at Manchester United and the fact we have Champions League football. So that's excellent news, guys. And here's another report that says that PSG stand not much chance of convincing Rasmus Hoyland. Sky Sports say that PSG are offering a higher wage to Rasmus Hoyland than Manchester United, but he still prefers a move to Manchester United. Get in there, my son. Those are the sorts of players that we need. Man and Drone says, what's your take on the Mullin injury? Obviously, the goalie's had an absolute mare. Bishops ran out like a lunatic and totally cleaned the clock of Mullin there. It was reckless, and he's had an absolute nightmare. Personally, don't think he did mean to do it. Some people think he meant to do it. I don't think he did mean to do it. I think it was a rush of blood to head for the guy. It was early in the game. He was just trying to get out there, and he was, you know, bit of anxiety, and he's just completely had a nightmare, bud. I feel bad for that Mullin guy. Really do. And, you know, he's had an absolute nightmare, has our goalie Bishop. But there was no malice in it, I don't think. I just think he's completely had a nightmare, bud. And it is unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. Nobody likes to see a player injured during a pre-season game like that, a friendly game. It's bad. It's bad. Okay, so also, Scott McTominay, guys. Scott McTominay for 45 million is apparently what United want. Way too much cash, in my opinion. Closer to 30 million in valuation is realistic. But West Ham are apparently considering a move for Scott McTominay. But United would demand £45 million. This is via the Telegraph. And we're thinking about cashing in on the player. But I think that's a negotiationary tool to try and get us as much cash as possible. In reality, he's worth a lot less. And we run the risk of putting West Ham off if we can't agree a much lesser fee, I think. So MEN reporting that West Ham United put off signing Scott McTominay because of £40 million price tag. We've got to be realistic about what we sell him for. Try and get 30 million for him. I'd accept 25 million. And then Amrabat is probably going to cost about a similar amount of cash, really, as what we can get for Scott McTominay. So it would finance that deal. Sofian Amrabat is not part of Fiorentina's travelling squad to Belgrade for the pre-season. Great indicator of where his head's at the moment in the move to United, hopefully coming soon. And United are expected to formalise an offer to Fiorentina for Amrabat very, very soon, with 25 million euros bandied around as the figure, with maybe 5 million add-ons to take the overall price of the deal to around about 30 million euros. That's the latest news, guys. Those are the latest updates throughout this afternoon. We'll be back on tonight, obviously, with the evening show, but don't go anywhere because we're going to stick on here for a good while and get into the Q&A now and hear your thoughts and opinions about anything we discussed on the video. We've got 300 legends in here. Keep hitting that like button, guys. Let's see if we can get 200 likes. We're nearly there. We're at 183 likes, so please do hit the like button if you're just joining us or if you haven't done so. I'm going to go over to Twitter real quick before I get into the chat and shout everyone out who's given us a retweet. So thanks everyone for sharing the show. Does help us out. Let's go over to Twitter, or X, or whatever the hell it's called right now. What a load of gash. We've had 17 retweets this afternoon. Thank you, everyone, all the retweets. It does help us out big time. Thank you, guys. Aaron Homeyard, David Johnston, Ryan Berberspin9, a.k.a. the Gaming Simp, Jarvis Cocker, Kieran, Feline Fur, Rugmuncher 007, Sin Games, Boomy, The Butcher of Manchester, Jamza Highlights, Transfers_UTD, Man United Pubs, Anthony Ong, Vincent Bullock, and J United and Gaming. Thank you so much, every one of you legends, for retweeting the show. That really, really does help us out as well, big time. Okay, guys, let's get into the live chat now. Have your say. It's time for the Q&A. Thanks, everyone, for getting in. Simon Cowie, what a legend. I hope you're doing well, boss. Thank you, Simon. Retweet above. Thank you, Sing Games. It's not Twitter, it is X. Oh, don't even get me started on that. Elon Musk having an absolute mare. Alex says, Ornstein tweet. Let's go and take a look at this Ornstein tweet that you speak of. Just see what's going on. Thank you for the update there and letting us know that. Let's just go and have a look and see what Ornstein's saying, if it's legit. Hopefully you're not fake newsing me here, bud. But I've just gone over to his page. Oh, yes, he's saying the same with Fabrizio Romano there. Nice one. Thank you. Let me get that up on screen, actually. So Ornstein has come in raw with exactly what Fabrizio said. It's just via Fabrizio Romano, really. So, you know, it's just the same update from David Ornstein here. But let's put it up on the screen anyway. Thank you for letting us know that. Here it is. So in the top right-hand corner, guys, you can see David Ornstein's just tweeted out saying that Man United make a verbal offer to Atalanta for Rasmus Hoyland, 50 million euros and 10 million euros in add-ons. Atalanta wants 70 million euros plus personal terms in place. Talks are ongoing. Optimism of striking the deal. Other options if needed. PSG still in the race. So, yeah, okay, then. That's literally just the same as what Fabrizio Romano said. But, you know, it's another good source, another tier one source, just confirming it there. David Ornstein also reiterates the fact that Man United have submitted a verbal offer of 60 million euros all told for Rasmus Hoyland. So that's excellent, guys. That's excellent. Thank you for the update there. Right. 195 likes. That's awesome. Thank you, FCG. Bada Bing says, you're on spot, pig. What about the world seeing the project United and the steps forward made? They want it. They went in on that. Not that. Yeah, definitely. Exactly, Bada Bing. It's exciting under Ten Hag. Maybe new owners coming in as well. It would be very exciting for a new era of this football club. Plus, the squad at United is very good. It's a very attractive squad to go and play with, I think, for most players. With players like Casemiro and Varane and Martinez and Rashford and all these guys at the club. Very exciting looking squad right now. Plus, Ten Hag there, exciting manager. And the fact we've got Champions League football. We finished third last season. We're obviously progressing. So I think it is an exciting prospect. Like, if you're Harry Kane, there's only one club, I believe, in English football that you would be prepared to go and play for right now, and that is Manchester United. So he might go to Bayern, but he's not going to City because Haaland's there and he won't play second fiddle. He's not going to go to one of the London clubs because, obviously, the rivalry there, plus they're all shite anyway. The only real club, and I guess Liverpool, but that's just, they don't have Champions League football, so that's very unlikely. Manchester United's the only club I think that he would go to in England. Yo, Pigster. Is your goalkeeper coach teaching your goalies to be a human cruise missiles? I don't know, 793. It was pretty reckless. I must admit, Bishop was pretty reckless, but he's a young lad. He'll learn from that. I don't think there was any malice in it personally, but he obviously did really injure that guy, and it was unfortunate, lad. It was unfortunate. Definitely don't think he meant to do it, though, bud. Simon says a £60 million bid should be accepted by Atalanta. It's a good offer with you as well, Simon. Yeah, surely they can't expect to get much more than that, can they? It'd be crazy. Billy says, Pig, would you tell Galatasaray to go and sell more kebabs if they think they can buy Fred? I wouldn't say that, Billy. Bloody hell, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that at all. But, I would expect at least 20 million. 20 million would be the best. 20 million is what we need, really, guys, for Fred. Anything less than that, I would rather keep him, to be perfectly honest, as a backup. 10 million's not good enough. We need 20 million. Sing Games. Oh, thank you, bud. Yes, I still need to watch your video, etc. Thank you. I will get to grips with that very, very soon. Thank you very much, bud. I appreciate that. Carlos Solis says, Harry is doomed to stay at Spurs. He's not moving to a Premiership team. Very unlikely, Decix. No, I agree. Very unlikely. Still a possibility, though. But all I'm saying is, if he was going to go to a Premier League team, Man United is the one that makes the most sense. For many reasons. The project there, he's mates with Rashford. He'd be the main guy at the top of the pitch scoring goals. We need a striker. All the rest of it. Man United is the reason. That's the reason why I think he would only stay in the Premier League as Man United actually go in and have an agreement in place with Spurs. Spurs is asking too much to Premier League clubs for Kane. Yeah, he'll probably be off to Bayern. You're right. They don't want to see him stay in the Premier League, so they would accept less money going to Bayern. That's true. Let's see if we are the real deal this season. You want Mbappe and Amrabat to United is better. Yeah, Abidi, great shout. Fair enough. I mean, Mbappe would be great, but even less likely than Kane. Daniel Lowe, get in there. You think we could get 65 to 70 from Henderson and McFred? Yeah, you're probably right, No Toes. All of those three players, we probably could. Add another 25 on for Harry Maguire. And that's the best part of 100 million, which is the best part of Harry McCain's Harry McCain? Bloody hell. Proper spud, isn't he, McCain? Harry McCain, I keep saying that. Why do I say Harry McCain? It's like some horrible hybrid of Scott McTominay and Harry Kane. Could you imagine that? That is the stuff that nightmares are made of. But Harry Kane, yeah, it's the best part of a Harry Kane fee. We're going to get Kane's to Stoic Savage. So you want minimum 20 for Fred, even though he's in his 30s and has 1 year left on his deal, but McSauce is only worth 25 to 30 despite being 26. I'll tell you how that works, Ryan, because Fred's a better player than McTominay. Fred's literally a Brazilian international lad. He's only 31. He's really not that old. Like, he's still got a great few years at the top. And he's a better player than McTominay, in my opinion, who performs much more often. So, mugging yourself off there a little bit, Ryan, mate. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, I think Fred is better than McTominay. Like, I would much rather sell McTominay and keep hold of Fred. There's just no value in selling Fred. Fred is worth £20 million all day long. Whereas McTominay, he's worth more. McTominay's worth more than Fred because of his age. That's the only reason. Not because he's a better player than Fred. Like, that's why McTominay's 30 million and Fred's 20 million in terms of valuation, in my opinion. It's only my opinion. But that's why there's a £10 million difference in valuation, because of the age. But Fred's a better player than McTominay, make no doubt. So, if you're being honest, then you could easily get that amount of cash for him. We should hold out for him for 20 mil. Chelsea looking 50 million for Gallagher and we're talking 20 for Fred. Exactly, Stoic Savage. Exactly. Mbappe will only join us, come to the Premier League if Sheikh Jassim buys. But he says, Pig, if we sell the players being linked away, that will be £100 million net spend, even if Hoyland and Amrabat come in. Is it good news or bad news on the Glazer Melts leaving? Don't know, a very good question. I mean, if they actually did do something crazy like sign Kane, maybe they would try and stay. Maybe that's an indicator. I mean, I don't know, Billy. I'm surprised that they're spending all this money without having sold the football club, lad. I must admit, I do think it's a bit odd. We might have to sell Maguire on eBay to separate Jerome. Yeah, nobody wants that guy. I don't know. Does anybody know how long Mullins are? That's really not good news, is it? No. Feel sorry for that guy. Maguire, McTominay to West Ham, Dutch Media, VP and Telegraph. Yeah, I know we've talked about that, Cass. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully they can go and get both of them, to be fair. That would be absolutely brilliant. If we can make a double sale, £70 million, says Mark. Harry Maguire and Scott keep Fred and sell Donny. Owner of Spurs, Joe Lewis, have told Dan Levy he have to sell Kane this window, so they're open to bids. Yeah, Joe Lewis is actually under investigation at the moment, isn't he, for like insider trading and stuff as well. That's quite interesting. So the British billionaire Joe Lewis, who owns Spurs, is in a bit of hot water right now. Obviously, he's going to fight and protest his innocence, etc. But that's quite interesting. I think you've got to be right there, Jarvis. Like, they would be crazy to keep hold of Kane this summer and let him go in a year's time for nothing. So they've got to sell him. Bayern's the most realistic, but certainly if Man United were to pay them more money, we could convince them to sell to us. Disco Dave says Kane deserves a proper chance to get his hands on the Premier League trophy. Damn right indeed. I mean, the only good thing about going to Bayern for him over the Premier League is that he's literally guaranteed to win multiple Bundesligas. He will win so many Bundesligas every single year, pretty much. So if he stays there for 4 years, he'll probably win 4 Bundesligas and a couple of German Cups and maybe have a shot in the Champions League as well. So that will literally end his career with a flurry of trophies, guaranteed. Whereas there is no guarantees at United. We could go on and win a lot of trophies with him at the club and with what Ten Hag's doing. But there's no guarantees. Whereas in the Bundesliga for Bayern Munich, it's guaranteed he will win trophies, which is what he needs for his legacy. FCG says, do you think the Glazers is trying to sign those players so they may win back support? Maybe, I guess, FCG is a bit concerning. I must admit, it just seems like there's a couple of Glazers that want to stay and a bunch of Glazers who want to go, and it's hard to reach an agreement for all the Glazers at the moment. So, yeah, that could be a factor. They reckon 6 to 8 weeks minimum, bro, from what I've seen on Mullin. That is really bad, 793. Let's get some get well soons in there for Mullin. That was piss poor from Bishop, to be fair, but I still don't think he meant to do it. Let's go into Bayern, says Rajat. Probably agreed. Probably more likely. It's more likely. Boomy says, controversial. I think Luke Shaw's by far the best left-back and most complete full-back in Europe. If you think there's another, tell me. Alphonso Davies is better. But fair enough. I mean, he is a good player, but that is pretty controversial. I don't think he is the best in Europe for shit, to be honest. You know, he's a good player. I really do rate him. But I'd rather have Alphonso Davies, lad. But fair enough. Stephanie says, get well soon, says Stephanie Griffith. The Glazers are probably staying, says Jonathan Gallagher. Fred can't shoot from outside the box, can't pass, can't head the ball and gets booked. He's not better than McTominay. Yeah, you know what, though, Ryan? He is better than McTominay because he actually wins the ball back way better. Go and look at the statistics. And also, all those things that you've just said about Fred applies to Scott McTominay as well. Literally. Maybe Scott gets 1 or 2 extra goals because he's a big lummox. But Scott McTominay can't pass either. And he's you know, he can't do any of those either, mate. Literally, if you look at the last few seasons, you must have not been watching United if you think that Fred is worse than McTominay at United over the last few years. In my opinion, McTominay's one of the most underperforming players at United over the last 3 seasons. He's done nothing every single season. He is the definition of shit. There you go. Any chance of us getting 2 strikers, Hoyland and another? Ideally, Mike, that's what we need, isn't it? M says McTominay's absolutely piss poor. Kane to Real Madrid, that'd be a good move for him, says Paul Ennis. Yeah. Jarvis says, Pig, you are totally right about Fred versus McTominay. I know. Thank you, Jarvis. I know. I don't see what people see in McTominay. He's literally rubbish. He's so lacking technical ability. It's unreal. I mean, don't get me wrong. Fred's really not all that either. He's got problems when it comes to, like, passing. But I actually like Fred in most other aspects. I feel that his mentality's great. I feel like he runs around. He's quick. He wins the ball back well. He's a terrier. He harasses people. He actually has good tackling ability compared to McTominay. McTominay's like supposedly this big physical player, but if you look at his tackling stats, he's actually very subpar. So I compared the stats of Declan Rice and McTominay the other day just to see, you know, what West Ham may be looking at here. And it was something like Declan Rice completes like 4 or 5 tackles per game, wins the ball back more than Scott McTominay. 4 or 5 every game more than Scott McTominay did last season. You know, so it's like Scott McTominay isn't even a good central defensive midfielder. He's not even, he might be a combative midfielder, but he's not a good one. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Fred actually does win a lot of challenges and wins the ball back a lot. So he's kind of a good destructive midfielder. In my opinion, they're both probably better slightly higher up going forward because they're both not ideal when it comes to sitting in front of a defence and being like a defensive midfielder. That's what they are, but they're not adept to that. They're better when they actually have some of the defensive duties taken away from them, like Fred at Shakhtar, for instance, getting forward and creating and scoring. Obviously different sort of vibe, but that's why we got him, because of what he was doing there. Simon says, Pig, you need to go watch Scotland and see McTominay's full picture as a player. I've watched a bunch of Scotland games with McTominay there. McTominay's been very good for Scotland. Very good for Scotland. Guess what, mate? Scotland isn't Manchester United, bud. He's Scotland's best player. What does that tell you? Scotland is shite, Simon Cowie. No disrespect. He's Scotland's best player, mate. He's versatile. He can play all over the gaff. Scores goals for them. Mate, he's like 3rd in European Championship qualifying. Goals scored. Doesn't mean anything, mate. Maguire's good for England. Doesn't mean jack shit. I don't care what these people are like for their international teams. I care what they're like week to week for Manchester United, guys. That's what I care about. Who cares about international football, mate? It means nothing. He's nowhere near Scotland's best player. Well, I think he's right up there. To say that he's not near, that's silly. I mean, they have got obviously a good bunch of players. Yeah. McGinn and who else? Now we're clutching at straws already, mate. We're clutching at straws already. Percy think he is right up there for one of Scotland's best players. Yeah, Ryan says McTominay's miles clear as McGinn. Well, I think he's right up there, Percy. He's one of Scotland's best players anyway. But who cares? Who cares if he's one of Scotland's best players? That means nothing to Manchester United. Scotland are really not what they used to be either. Scott only has finishing on Fred. Fred is the better player, says Josh Lee. Agreed with you. Agreed with you. Agreed with you, Hoopman. International football's wank. Oh, shit, Robertson. I actually forgot about him. Fair enough. No, I actually did forget about Andy Robertson. You're right. You are right. He is blatantly better than Scott McTominay for his position. You're absolutely right. No, you are right. I forgot about him. But he doesn't count because he's a fucking scouse twat. All right? Right, let's read a bunch more comments out, guys. Keep the comments coming. This is fun. Hit the likes on the video as well. Get yourself subscribed. We smashed 200 likes. Thank you, everyone, for hitting that like button. I appreciate it. We need to sell both. There's no argument. The manager clearly don't rate him. Yeah, definitely. We want to see both of them go. Exactly. It's not even a debate, is it? We want to see both of them gone. Go to West Ham, Scott. We need the money. Fred plays ball like a Jack Russell chasing a crisp bag. High energy, lower. But that's a great way of looking at it, really. Yeah. It's a good shout. Robertson, yeah, no, you guys are right. I did forget about him. This summer we will get rid of McTominay and other players who have been poor or average. Scotland are going to smash the next World Cup, says Emperor Jerome. Do you think of the Real Madrid match tomorrow? Mate, it's going to be good, mate. I'm looking forward to it. We should see a big spot-on team being fielded rather than that guff we played last night. Obviously, it will be our first team against Real Madrid, and they'll have a really strong team out. It should be a full-blooded game of football. We're doing a watch-along for it tonight at 1 a.m, guys. Come and join us. I'm not doing any Duke of Rodtown, to be honest. I don't really have the time, lad, because of all the transfer dealings and United's pre-season tour and stuff. Scotland is Ali McCoist and Duncan Ferguson. Well, back in the day, right, Scotland, in the 90s, when I was a kid growing up, their league was better, and their international team was actually full of really great players. Really good players like Gary McAllister and, Colin Hendry and people like that. And Ali McCoist and stuff like that. They actually really had a good set of players back in the 90s, and their league was much better. Now, no disrespect to any Scotsmen in the chat, because I know there's a few like the Hoopman, etc. No disrespect, but the Scottish League and the Scottish national team is nowhere near as good as it was back then. Nowhere near. It's guff compared, to be honest. It's just a generational thing. Probably in a few years' time, they'll have a really good set of players again. But right now, it's no good. It's not good enough, guys. I think that's fair. It's just really not up there. So, Scotland used to be good, but they're not anymore. And even go back a few years when we had players like Darren Fletcher playing for us. You know, he's a great player, Darren Fletcher. Much better than Scott McTominay. I mean, crikey. 70s even better. There you go. Bit before my time, Stephanie Griffith. But yeah, you're right. People like, who are we talking about now? Like, I don't know, like Alan Brazil and who's that lad who scored that crazy goal against Brazil? You know, shit. You know, that awesome goal back in the day, mate. What's his name? Bollocks, I can't remember now. But you know the one. Yeah, Dalglish was a baller, but that's not who I'm talking about. Was it against Brazil or was it? That's it, Archie Gemmell. That's the one, Stephanie Griffith. Archie Gemmell. Thank you for reminding me there, bro. Okay, watch along. There is the link. Thank you, Aaron, for putting the link to the watch along in the live chat, mate. I'm going to pin that to the top. So that's where we're doing the Real Madrid watch along tonight, at that link. Thank you so much there, Aaron, for putting that link in there, bros. So at the end of this stream, everyone, go and click that link and smash a like on the watch along. That'll help us out. Yeah, that's the one, Ulster. It's Archie Gemmell, lad. Archie Gemmell, yeah, absolutely. Great goal, that one. 221 likes. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Luan. Hopefully you're good today. 221 likes is awesome. Thank you, everybody. Well, we're going to read a couple more ideas out. We've got a fantasy league, actually, Stoic Savage. I will reinstate it for the start of this season and put it in the community page. So I will reinstate it on PremierLeague.com, fantasy.premierleague.com, and we will have a fantasy league going throughout the season. Oh, shit, it was Hoyland. That's the one. Yeah, sorry, my bad. And like I say, it was before my time. There's just a famous goal, a very famous goal that Archie Gemmell scored, which I've seen. And it was a cracking goal. I forget who it was against, but you've just told me it was against Hoyland. That goal was absolutely brilliant, wasn't it? Yeah, fair play to him. Okay. Right, I'm going to wrap this stream up basically now, guys. But thank you so much for everybody who's got in the stream. It's been an absolute pleasure. As always, thank you so much for joining us and getting your thoughts and opinions in. Those are the latest updates. We're working on Rasmus Hoyland. First verbal offer submitted now, 60 million euros. Hopefully we will be able to reach some sort of an agreement very soon, maybe around about 65 million euros for Hoyland, and we'll get that deal done. Also, Amrabat, we're expected to formalise our interest in him with a submitted offer to Fiorentina very soon, probably around about 30 million euros, and we're working on selling players like Fred, McTominay, Bailly, etc., so keep your eyes peeled there. Thank you, Must Play, Super 7, everybody as well. Thank you, Stephanie. I really appreciate your... No Toast says Pig's actually 350 years old. He adds life every time he gets to say Cashtastic. Emperor Jerome, nice one, bud. Yeah, I feel you, man. I struggle to get up today as well after that. Go and give us a cheeky little like on the watch along, everyone. It's pinned to the top of the chat there. Marek Stachowski, great to see you, bud. How you getting on? One of the long time dons. Yes, mate. I'm doing all right, man. Thank you for getting in. Hope you're good. Going to be a good season ahead, I think, under Ten Hag. Good to see you, Marek. Thank you there, Rajat. Thank you, Cass. Getting the new Ten Hag emojis in there. Thank you, Eamon, Bada Bing, Duke of Rodtown, Mike Hill, everyone in the chat. No Toes, Arsenal Manic. Thank you, The Hoop Man. Thank you, Rajat. Thank you, Chris. FCG. Gungshi, your legend. Yes, mate. Come and join us for the watch along later, guys. It's at the top of the chat there. Please do go over to the watch along and smash that like before the end, before the start of the stream, guys. Help us out. Because, you know, every little like helps on the stream. Even if you're not going to be around at 1:30 a.m. to watch the game, you can go to the watch along and hit the like button, and that will at least help the channel. I'll just put it in the chat again there, guys. Thank you, Aaron, for putting it in there as well. I appreciate that. Everyone, stay classy. Sorry if I missed any of you at the end here, but thank you, everyone, for getting in here. One positional that can play multiple positions as a retired manager would be multiple positions, and that is McTominay who can play. I'd rather have a specialist, to be honest, not a jack of all trades. I'd rather have a master of one position and not a jack of all trades, to be honest with you. You know, which is what Scott McTominay is. Jack of all trades, master of none. Get in there, my friends. Thank you, everyone. Bye, Simon. Must Play, Luan France as well. The Hoopman, Eamon, Sing Games, Chris Parker, all the moderators, all the members. Jarvis will be there for the watch along. Beautiful lad. Thank you for coming to join us. Yes, guys, go and smash a like on the watch along. There's the link. God bless you all. And I'll see you later on tonight, guys. Come on, United. Back at about 9:30 or 10 p.m. as well for the evening transfer news show. So we'll see you then as well for that show, guys. Keep your eyes locked on that one. Make sure you smash the like on this video before you go. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. Click the bell icon so you get notifications and you don't miss the shows. And follow us on the links in the description of this video on all social media channels at Flying Pig United. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, go and follow us on social media at Flying Pig United, peeps. Get in there, my son. I will be doing another news show, Ryan, around about 9:30 or 10 p.m.-ish. Round about there. Thank you, Sin Games and everyone. All the mods, all the members. Have a great day, guys. That's it from me. Come back after this video's finished and get your thoughts and opinions in about anything we've discussed. Hoyland, Kane, Amrabat, etc. Come back and have your say. Keep the debate going afterwards. But thank you for watching. That's it from me. Have a great afternoon, and I'll be back tonight with the evening show. See you then. And remember, when the seagulls follow the trawler, as this is because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.